Mofield Show is brought to you by the Kentucky Land Company of Irvington. If you're looking for a little slice of heaven to plant your flag and call your own, give them a call at 547-4222 or check out their webpage at ky-land.com. Hello, Green Wave Nation. We're back with another senior spotlight, and we're honored to have Mr. Conner Kerns with us today. How you doing, Conner?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So we'll kind of start off. Tell us how long you've been involved in football and what got you into it and what your role is on the team this year.
Well, I've always played football. It's just always been for rec league up until like 7th grade year. And middle school, I played for the middle school, and I started through the high school my freshman year. And then I've just always played because my cousin, he and my entire family out in Nevada, they've always loved football. So we've always had, they had like this big grass field. We've always played football out there, so I've always just loved it.
Oh, nice. So what position you play?
Corner.
Corner? Nice. So we'll step away from football for a minute. If we jump in a vehicle and you can turn the radio on anything, what are you putting it on?
Country.
Country? Can't go wrong with good old country, can you?
No.
You got any favorite artists?
Jason Aldean or Chris Stapleton.
Oh, those are two great ones. Can't go wrong with either one of them. I can listen to them all day long. So we've been riding around. We're getting hungry. Where are you taking us to eat, and what are you picking out if you can pick?
Probably Wingstop or Smash Burger.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite wing sauce?
I don't know. I couldn't choose.
Like them all?
Yeah, I'd switch it up every time. So.
You can't go wrong with that.
Right.
Can you?
Right.
So if you get some free time, you're out of school, you don't have football practice, what are you going to do in your free time if you can choose?
Probably hanging out with some buddies or just sitting at the house doing with my family, watching a movie or something.
Nice. You've been playing football for a long time, it sounds like, and now you've got up to your senior year. What's it meant to be a part of this Meade County football program?
It's meant a lot. Everyone's so like close and everything. It's great.
Yeah, like a big family.
Yeah.
And if we had a fourth grader come up to us right now, and he's kind of on the fence about whether he wants to play football or not, what would your advice be to him?
I'd encourage him to do it. Tell him just at least do it for a year, see how he likes it. If he wants to keep doing it, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Encourage him. Nice.
Senior year will be over soon, and you'll be walking Hamilton Field not as a football player, but as a graduate. What's the next step in life for you?
Probably going to a trade school for either welding or doing somewhere with construction.
Yeah, those are always in high demand. So that's great job security in either one of those professions. So, well, Conner, we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season and everything you do. And thank you for stopping by the show today.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Hello, Green Wave Nation, and welcome back to another Senior Spotlight here with the Meade County football team. We're pleased to welcome Mr. Scott Godsey to the show today. How you doing, Scott?
Good, how are you?
Good. So tell us how you kind of got into football, how long you've been playing, and what your role is on the team this year.
So I started my 4th grade year in Little League tackle, and I got into it by my brother. He was like a really big football addict, and he brought me to it.
Nice. And so what position do you play on the team?
I play nose guard on defense, and on offense I play guard.
Oh, nice. Which side of the ball you like better, offense or defense?
I like defense better.
I always like defense better too. It's better to give than receive, isn't it? So we'll kind of step away from football right now for a second. We jump in the vehicle riding down the road. You put anything on the radio. What are we listening to?
Country.
Country?
Yeah.
You got any? Who's your favorite?
That's a tough one.
A lot of good ones in there.
Yeah. Right now I'd probably say George Strait or Randy Travis.
You can't go wrong with those two, King George and Randy. Great picks. We've been riding around. We're getting hungry. You can pick anywhere we're going to eat and whatever you want there. What are you going to pick out?
There's two places I would either choose from: Zaxby's or Longhorn Steakhouse.
I can't go wrong there. What are you getting at Longhorn?
Steak.
How you get your steak done?
Medium rare.
That's my man. You can't be cooking it too much, can you?
Yep.
Never go wrong there. So when you're not at school, you don't have football practice or a game going on, what are you going to be doing in your free time?
Either playing outside or hanging out with some buddies or doing other stuff.
Nice. So your senior year, looking back on it all the way back to 4th grade, building up to this moment, what's it meant to you to be a part of the Meade County football program?
It's meant a lot. It feels great to be a part of this community and to be a part of a team.
It almost becomes like a family, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you're all together, going to battle all day, all that. Yeah. So if you had a young 4th grader that was thinking about getting into Little League football, you've been there and done that, and they were kind of on the fence, what would your advice be to them?
I'd tell him to try it out, see how he feels about it, and if it likes it, then go ahead and do it.
Do you think it'd be worth it in the long run?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it won't be long. We'll be in the spring, and you'll be down there on Hamilton Field, walking your line, getting your diploma. What's next up for you in life?
Start working full time.
Do you got any ideas where or what you're going to do?
I'm most likely going to be having a job like right out of high school doing HVAC.
Oh, nice. And that's a job that'll always be in demand because we love our heating and air.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season and in everything you do, and thank you for coming by the show today.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll be right back. Hello, Green Wave Nation, and welcome back for another senior spotlight with one of our Green Wave football players. Today, we're going to be sitting down with Nolan Poole. Welcome to the show, Nolan.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I guess kind of start off, tell us how you got into, how long you've been playing football, what got you into it, and what your role is on the team this year.
So I started my sophomore year. This is my 3rd year going in. I'm the kicker, and I played soccer all my life ever since I was a baby, and kind of fell out of love with it whenever I started kicking. So just took the year off to quit soccer and do this full time.
So fell in love with the other football, the American football.
The better one.
And so as a kicker, you're not just doing extra points, you're doing field goals, you're doing kickoffs, and had some big plays this year with the kickoffs, placing it where it needed to be, and turnovers. What's that like?
It's definitely exciting. Like, doing it is a good feeling. It gets like kind of nerve-wracking. Like on a field goal, you got everybody watching you. You're the only person have to like show out.
Yeah, it's kind of the one time in football where all the focus goes on one person.
Yeah, and if you mess it up, it is what it is.
But you've had some great kicks this year with field goals that have came in clutch, so congratulations on that. We're going to kind of step away from football for a minute. If we jump in a car riding down the road, what are you picking that we're going to listen to?
What am I picking? It really depends. I'll listen to everything. Country, rap, slow. It just depends on the mood.
Yeah, as long as it's good.
Right now, I'll say Benson Boone or Rod Wave.
That's where you're going?
But they're completely opposite, like a lot. Nothing alike.
Just depends on the mood, huh?
Yeah.
So we've been riding around, now we're getting hungry. If you can pick anywhere to go, where are we going to eat and what are you picking?
For me, either Raising Cane's or Fazoli's.
Nice. So the chicken or the Italian?
Chicken, yeah.
What's your go-to meal at them places?
At Raising Cane's, I get however many chicken tenders I can. Eat in about like 5 minutes. Fazoli's, I get a whole pizza and like 4 things of their breadsticks.
Nice. It's pretty good stuff, isn't it?
I love it.
So, if you're off of school, you don't have any football to focus on, you got some free time, like what are you going to do? What are you going to pick to do in your free time if you can?
All right, so off of school, I'll sleep till about 1 p.m. I'll wake up, go eat food, go back to sleep till like 7, and then I'll go to the gym. I sleep a lot.
Gotta get that rest in so you get them kicks on Friday night, don't you?
A whole lot.
So, what's it mean? Now, you've played multiple sports, and now you're coming into your senior season on the football team. What's it mean to be a part of the Meade County football team?
Well, I think it's just better, like coaching, as in other teams, they do this whole disrespectful thing, like bringing photos and stuff like that. I think the coaches teach us to be very respectful and disciplined, as they would say. And I think it's just a good feeling knowing that we've gone into the season, didn't know how to go out, and it's coming up to a really good outcome.
Yeah, and then it goes quick. What if you had a young kid coming up to you and had the opportunity? He wanted to know. He's debating whether he wants to play football or not. What would you tell him?
The moments are they're special. Friday Night Lights is something I've never experienced until sophomore year, and immediately I knew I wanted to do it in college.
It's pretty special, especially here at home when you walk out and look down in that hole and
Definitely.
all the fans are cheering.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's something.
That's something not to be missed, is it?
Not at all.
So, senior year goes quick. I mean, here we are, 3 games left in the season. It goes so fast. When you walk that line this spring, graduate, what are you kind of looking at for your future? What's your next step in life?
So I'm going to go to college for business, and then I'm talking to a few places trying to kick somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Because I definitely want to do it.
Yeah. So get a business degree and hopefully do some kicking too. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Most definitely.
Well, Nolan, we appreciate you stopping by, and we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season and all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
Of course.
And we will be right back after this. Hello, Green Waves, and welcome back to another episode of the Coach Mofield Show. How you doing, Coach?
Good, Chad. How you doing?
Good. It's been a few weeks with the fall break and everything, but it's good to be back. It's just hard to believe old season's ticking by. And
it's going by. I've said this before. We've talked about this. It really, once you hit the first scrimmage, is kind of the season, and all the weeks are kind of the same. You do pretty much the same way. You got a Monday through Thursday preparation, and you play on Friday. Now, fall break creates a little bit of a window in there or gap, and I really thought our kids handled that well, and our parents. We had 4 or 5 kids that weren't there, but we had, I'm going to guess 97, 98% of the kids that we needed were there. And not to say we don't need the other kids, but the kids that were there were kids that played substantial minutes for us. And, you're probably never going to be 100%. Fall break's one of those things. It's good and bad. Like I was telling you before we went on the air, if you got a kid that's injured, I think it's good. It gets them healed up. But, soccer, volleyball, football, they carry on during fall break. And I've always found the irony is people want to be successful, and that's good. You should have high expectations of all those 3 programs, but part of that is a commitment. Getting kids to commit. Hey, I'm going to be there during that time, because it is tough to give. We gave our kids some time off, and like I said earlier on the show, I'd kind of botched the schedule, and and I told people it was on me. It wasn't on the administration. It was 100% on me. But we got it out there in time, I think, to where we were able to adjust. Really, if anything, we probably knocked a day off of people's plans that they had. But we did give them some time off. It worked out. Our kids responded well. I was really pleasantly surprised that the first day we came back on a Tuesday night, we had played on that Thursday. We played Bardstown, had a big win. We came back, and we came back on a Tuesday night at 6 in preparation for, we had given them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We came back on a Tuesday night at 6. It may have been the best practice of the year.
Oh, wow.
I think all the coaches, we didn't really verbalize it, but it reminds me, hey, you getting them back from Florida, you getting them back from Gatlinburg, or they've been sleeping all day at home in Brandenburg, and Tuesday night was outstanding. And then Wednesday may not have been as good, but it was hard to compare it because Tuesday night was so good. But our kids prepared. There was a lot going on with all the things that were going on at PRP, and I would like to say hats off to our law enforcement here in Brandenburg, Officer Hagg and his staff. They gave us they went up there with us. They didn't make a big deal of it as they were going up there. They were there for our protection, and I thought PRP administration did a great job. Also, I got to commend them. Sometimes that stuff gets brought on you. You don't have anything to do. You can't. It's out of your control.
Yeah.
And it's how you react. And so, hats off to PRP for what they did. They did a tremendous job. They gave us kind of our own area when we were up there. It was kind of nice. And then our police officers were there. They gave us a little bit of an escort home. That Officer Hagg said, "You want a little VIP treatment on the way home?" I said, "Hey, you do what you want to. You know, those guys came up there with us, so we got home in a pretty good pace. We didn't have to stop any traffic lights or anything. That's nice when you're coming down Dixie Highway. But everything, Chad, and all with the fall break going on, with the incident at PRP, everything kind of came together. And then at the end of the day, winning the football game was kind of icing on the cake for us.
Yeah, and a huge win because that's your first game in district this year. So it's always great to start off district play 1-0.
Right. And it's a big win from this standpoint too. We sold it on our kids. We got put in this district, which arguably could be the toughest district in the state, because if you look right now, Manual's the #1 ranked team in 6A football. Up there, either 2, 3, 4, whatever how you want to slice or dice it, is St. X.
Yeah.
And then, arguably it's the toughest district in the state, and we got in there. We haven't had no win in that district. We've been in there. This will be our second year and our last year. So we sold it to our kids. Hey, get your first district win in the toughest district maybe in the state of Kentucky, and they did. And PRP they have tremendous talent on the field. Anybody that went to the game could attest to that. Now, some people might say, do they play their best 11 on each side? I don't know, but I can tell you this: they're very talented. They've played a tremendous schedule. I watched every one of their games. They played a team out of Ohio called Taft, who's outstanding, could probably beat most teams in the state of Kentucky. They played Male. All right. They have played a tremendous schedule, and so they were good. Their record wasn't very good, but that's not to discredit the teams they played, and we about gave them several opportunities to beat us, Friday night. I mean, the first half we kind of, did some things. I thought our kids came out ready to play, but we made some mistakes. We got on them early. We converted a turnover into a touchdown, went for 2, got that, and then it kind of goes back to a couple of things this year. We got to learn to close teams out. But anyway, we got to win, and anytime you get a win, you can't devalue a win. A win's a win. So we're 5-2. We're at the same spot kind of that we were this time last year. We're 5-2. Could be 7-0 last 2
very
years.
Easily.
But anyway, that's
yeah.
water under the bridge. We got to focus on this Friday night.
Yeah, and I noticed one of the things that kind of stood out to me, just from the injury standpoint. Obviously it takes everybody on the field doing their thing, but had a big injury with White Rainey a few weeks ago, and it's an integral part. And it looked like that off week he came in and had a great night on the ground, over 100 yards rushing, about 70 yards catching. So
he's pretty hard to handle. He we got a pretty good 1-2 punch here in the backfield. Excuse me. R.J. Wren filled in admirably. I say filled in. Really, those two guys are. Either one of them could be starters. It's just Wyatt plays 100% defense. He never comes off the field. And he cannot play 100% offense, 100%. He's got to have some breaks. So RJ is in there, and RJ plays defense too. So one thing, having these kids healthy gives them a chance for us to rotate some kids. We feel like we're pretty deep in the backfield when Wyatt's healthy. Ethan Kaiser can come in there and run too, but we've been fortunate not to have to use Ethan. Ethan can go out there and play wide out, and he can start on safety for us too. You probably talked about this when he did his interview a few weeks ago. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He can do anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've been blessed to not have to play him in there. And I say blessed from a standpoint of that means we're healthy, because when Ethan's starting at wide out, he doesn't have to start at running back because we got guys. So we have depth, a little depth in there, and that's what you need. Obviously you want to stay healthy. So
well, the other thing that I noticed was, and this has been pretty much the case all year, you've been able to have a team that it's a balanced attack, because we're talking about the running backs, but Kate threw it around. You've got 3 or 4 different receivers, 5 receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got, Conner Cole made a huge catch Friday night. That catch he had was a pivotal point in the game, and kind of I thought was a momentum swing back to us. He caught it, and he was able to stay in bounds and score. Yeah, we have. I mean, you're, and I say starters at those. We've got about 6 to 7 kids that we really feel comfortable catching the football. Now, obviously, when you're in in our set, you have 4 wide receivers, essentially 2 slots, 2 wide outs, and Aiden Bratcher's kind of what we call an H, but he can go out and play wide out. So if you have 5, and then Wyatt's ability to catch the ball, RJ can catch the ball. So you got 5 guys that start that can catch the ball, and then you got the other guys that don't start. So I feel really good about 7 to 8 kids with the ball, and I think we do. We do. You distribute it as well as you can based on what the defense is doing sometimes. But anyway, I feel good about and I think in modern football you use the short passing game, the screens, the bubbles, the quicks is what we call them, the back out of the backfield as a running play essentially. I think we opened up with what we call rocket the other night, and that is just Wyatt out of the backfield, boom, that's essentially a toss sweep, but you're throwing the ball. Yeah. But that's the way that modern offenses have gone, and Cade's got that ability. And we like to try to start out with high percentage throws. I think that gets him into the game quicker, and PRP was very athletic on the back end, and their secondary, they're pretty dang good. They remind me a little bit of Apollo. Apollo had some guys back there that can cover. And then on the flip side, defensively, I thought our defense did a tremendous job of holding a somewhat explosive PRP. Well, they can. Number 14, number 1 could get vertical for them quick. I've seen them do it against really good competition. They've blown by some teams that are really fast. So I thought our secondary did a good job. I thought our front did a good job of putting pressure on that young man, their quarterback. Overall, I think our defense has gotten better each week. And I knew that. I've said this on the show multiple times. I thought our offense was going to have to carry us a little bit at the beginning of the year because we had more experience there. The least experience was on the defense. And now our defense has kind of caught up to us offensively, I think, as far as understanding our scheme, what to do, being able to run multiple coverages. You can't just stay in one coverage all night. And we've got some kids there. We've got some smart kids on both sides of the ball, but I think understanding a scheme, defense is so much harder to prepare for than offense. Offensively, you know what fronts are going to run, what coverage are going to run. You go out there and do what you do. You make some tweaks. Defensively, every week is a new ball game essentially. Like if you run into a team like Central Hardin that ran the option, you don't hardly see that, and then you run into a team that runs a spread, and and one team runs a spread might be a little bit more run heavy than another team. So that's, even though it's maybe a spread offense, you got to prepare for the run a little bit more than the pass, or vice versa, maybe more pass friendly. So and then brings us to a team like tonight in St. X, who's really balanced. I mean, they can do it both. They do it both, and they do it well. So.
Well, and that was going to be my next point, is moving on to the St. X game, and what the stats I was looking over all their games. It looks like they're pretty well balanced, and they've got a quarterback that's not afraid to run. It looked like a lot of games he's running 10, 12, 13 times a game.
Yeah, I think, Chad, that's the biggest difference from them last year and them to this year. Their quarterback last year was a good player, and he would run it if he needed to. But this young man's different, kind of a different player. They're not afraid to design run with him. In fact, there are a couple of formations they get in that, and I think they don't care if they're running or not. They're just going to do it. If they get in a double slot and they put number 82, he's a tight end / H-back for him. He's probably 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds. He's a lead blocker. If they put him back there and the quarterback's back there, it's going to be a quarterback counter, lead ISO, which is a power play, or it's going to be some kind of quarterback run with him back there. So, or they're going to throw it out of that double slot set. So, yeah, they're obviously a good football team. Their record's probably not what they want it to be, but however, they've played outstanding competition. Obviously, we don't have to say a whole lot about St. X. It's already been said as far as their tradition and how they do it. So obviously, with that being said, they cannot get a lot of teams to play them in the regular seasons. Therefore, they go out of state. They play Cincinnati Elder, and they play other teams. Same with Trinity, and because teams, historically have had a hard time competing with them. Now, last year we played them and we got beat 43-0. And I know this is just the truth. We went up there. We were a little undermanned. Now, and that's not an excuse. That's just the reality. But with that being said, I thought our undermanned team did some good things last year. Watching back the film, I'm like, man, Bennett Hobbs is a warrior. I mean, he was a couple of times he was running for his life, and he ran for 30 yards. But I thought our kids competed. We didn't back down. We didn't go in there and say, poor, pitiful Meade County, we're missing 5 or 6. We just played, and that's a credit to our kids. And, and now we did enough boneheaded stuff in the course of the game that didn't help us. They kicked some corner kicks on the kickoff, and we didn't field them well, and we started out on a 2-yard line 2 times. And you're going to start out against one of the premier defenses in the state on a 2-yard line, so things like
rough,
that.
Yeah.
We got to clean up, and so, but we're healthy this year. Obviously, they got a great football team. We're going to have to play really well. We got to limit the mistakes. We can't go in there, and I tell you, when St. X beats most teams before the game ever starts. And I've already prepared our kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to run 100 out there. They're going to line up from the 10 to 10. They're going to be about 4 or 5 deep. They'll have one from the 50 to their goal line. It'll look like a bunch of ants out there. All the field will be covered. I mean, I told our kids there'll be 5 or 6 trailway buses come in. I don't know. I mean, that you gotta get through that, number one, because that's where they beat you sometimes before they ever get off the bus. So if you can get over that, now that's the first step. The second step is they can only play 11 of them at one time. Yeah. I mean, all that 150 they got down there, they're just like everybody else. They got some sandwich eaters and some Powerade drinkers, and nothing wrong with that. But we all got those. But when it boils down to it, there's 11 on the field at the time. Now, can they run a different defensive line out there after 2 or 3 plays? Yeah. But you know what? That's where conditioning and mental toughness and those things got to come in a little bit too. Don't get me wrong, they got a great team. I mean, I'm not no fool, but we also got a pretty dang good football team too. Yeah. Now, can we limit our mistakes, and can we do the little things, and can we believe, and can we be motivated enough to fight our tails off for 48 minutes? That remains to be seen, but hopefully we can. this bunch, our bunch we got, there's a fine line between, sometimes they get a little squirrely. I mean, they're fun to coach, but in practice, it's, you try to rein them in. But I also think that's part of their makeup. I think you have to be careful as a coach because you can be too regimented and too, but yet you can't let them go, too far.
Yeah.
But they are fun to coach, and they play hard, and they play for each other, and we'll see. I mean, right now, it's going to be a battle. We just got to come out and, we got to play.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity. It's a next opportunity. They go by fast. It's senior night. We got 17 seniors. This senior class is outstanding in multiple ways, character-wise. Athleticism, I think, is pretty good. It started out as a bigger group. As a freshman, we've lost 2 or 3 kids. We lost one kid to Virginia military. We lost another kid to Georgia. We lost some kids that just decided, hey, I don't want to do that anymore. And but I can guarantee, I bet if you'll interview all 17 of these guys at some point. That's another thing. I appreciate you doing that. But
I love
I bet if you ask each one of them, they're not going to say, Chad, I wish I hadn't have played football. They're going to, the memories that they've made, the brotherhood that they've made, and just ability to stick with something and see it through. It's hard.
Yeah.
There's no other. We had a former player come and talk to our kids this week, Luke Wilson, who played at the Coast Guard, was an outstanding player on the state champion 2013, just as a little motivational. And Luke said a lot of the things that we try to tell him, but sometimes hearing a coach, it's like goes in one ear and out the other. But Luke challenged him, hey, this is a fun time of your life that'll never be the same. He even said, he played at Coast Guard and was an outstanding player there. Nothing's like playing on your high school football team.
Yeah.
And you'll never get it back. It's and we got guys that play don't come off the field, and we got guys that don't get on the field that much, and everything in between. But there's just something about the brotherhood and the family, and being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, and being a part of something that's tough. Football has gotten softer in a lot of ways. From when you played, I can tell you that. And my coaches say, Coach, why are you telling those stories? They can't relate to those, and they probably don't, because I've seen it. I've been doing it 35 years. Some of the things have been for the positive, but it's still the toughest game in town.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like, you start out when it's 95, 98 degrees, and you're like, I'm getting ready to get sick, and you end up on, these Thursday morning practices where it might be 32 degrees, So it's a different, it's kind of a different animal, and I don't say that. I love every other sport, but football is a different thing, and it takes a different type of young man to play. I'm just, and you played it. It's not for everybody, and not to disparage kids that don't do it, but the kids that do it. And I even got to give more credit to those kids that always don't see the field all the time. To think that the perseverance that you have to line up in a suit of armor and go out there and do the things you do, it's just a credit to the kids that do it. And I'm dang proud of the kids we got. We got about 45 varsity kids. We have about close to 30 freshman kids, and just hats off to those guys for being able to persevere through difficulties, because football presents some challenges you got to overcome.
Yeah, well, and you bring up a good point with that, because and that's one of the fun things about doing these senior interviews, and we're working our way through them, and we haven't got all the way through them yet. We will, but everyone that I've sat down with, and especially at this point in the season, because down there on the field, get to see them, and you see them put on their war face, and they go out there to war, and they're battling.
Right.
But then when you sit down with them, I think every one of them has said, like when I ask them what it's meant to be a part of this program, they all go back to the brotherhood, how close they are, the family it is. And and I think, I'm not saying other sports don't do that, but it's always been a little bit, I've played other sports, and football's a little bit different because you go through all that heck all summer.
Right.
You know, you're out there beating the snot
Right.
out of each other all
Right.
summer long, and then you all
Yeah.
come together and you're brothers, and
Right.
and it doesn't matter what position they are, how much time they're getting, how much time they're not getting. They all talk about that's what means the most to them,
Right.
and that's an awesome thing.
We try to talk about the admiration for, you know, like amongst our team, that, you know, you're worthy because you're out there. So whatever it is, you know, treat, you know, regardless of how much you play, you know, to even come out there and to go through all you got to, regardless of the amount of playing time you get, it's pretty special. You know, so treat each other with respect, and I think that's one thing I really like about the group of kids we got out there now, and it's all of them. It's not just the seniors; it's the younger kids. I think they rib each other during practice. I mean, you know, just this week, you know, Wyatt was on the scout team kickoff return, and he missed the ball, and Branson was wearing him out about it, and then AB, you know, but it was all in fun.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they know, you know, White's coming off a pretty good game with PRP. Hey, let's needle him a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. And,
Yeah.
and then I went back and told him, and when Luke spoke to him, you know, Wilson, the 2013 team was a pretty special group. And when that bunch practiced, I mean, they liked each other and loved each other, I think. But, man, when they practiced, it was like, so I thought somebody was going to get hurt doing 7-on-7. Not that they wanted to hurt each other; they were just so competitive.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing. You know, we had to rein them back as a coaching staff a little bit, but you know, and this group has some similar qualities to that. You know, to some special teams that have come through here. Now, obviously, you know, things changed a little bit in scheduling and all, but we can't handle. We got to control what we can control.
Yeah.
You know, I can't control the KHSAA, but we can control what we do on the football field. So let's go battle, and that's another thing I'd like to say about this group. I thought, you know, when we had to change districts, I don't think we had any kids that quit and said, you know, I'm gonna go. We got to play St. X, Manual, and PRP, but what these kids did is I think they rolled their sleeves up and they worked. And I think that's something that's not going to show up in no stat over the years, and that's not going. But I tell you what, I think that'll show up down the road when you know. And football's minor compared to things that happen to us in life. But I also think some of the lessons that you learn teach you to stick to something, teaches commitment, teaches you discipline, and those kids, instead of backing down and wanting to play some of these teams that aren't very good, that they accepted the challenge. So I got a lot of admiration for those kids.
Absolutely. So, Coach, like we've been talking about, obviously it's senior night. What time, if fans want to get there before the game starts and see all the senior ceremonies with the football team and the cheerleaders and the band and all that, what time is that?
I appreciate you bringing that up. We're going to start the ceremony at 6:45. Okay. We've asked our football parents to be there at 6, and really to start gathering about 6:20, and then we will walk down the hillside there where the locker room is, and we'll walk onto the track, and about 6:40 or right at 6:45 we should be starting our ceremony. We have our players with their parents. In some cases it might be an aunt and uncle or someone that, if their parents can't be there, or if there's some circumstance, but we want somebody to be with them. If we got to take a coach and walk with them, we will, because it's their night. It's to honor them. We'll have the football players walk first. The reason we do that is so they can get back out there and be ready to play the game. That's because they need X amount of time to warm up.
Yeah.
And then the cheerleaders will follow, and then the band members. So I hope there's a big crowd. I think the weather's going to be beautiful. It's actually football weather. I think the high will be probably in the maybe mid to upper 60s, and then the lows will probably be by the end of the game, it might be 40, 45 degrees. But that's really kind of football weather. That's what we we like, and see the fans will like it too. A little nip in the air. So, but it's a big night to honor our kids that have been here, and eventually those kids will graduate in May, and they'll be on to the next chapter of their life. But it's a special night for our kids, and and we want to do that, and then play the football game, and hopefully we can come out and play well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck, and looking forward to the senior night, and 2-0 in district would sound real good.
It'd be nice. Yeah, we'll have our work cut out
Yeah.
for us, but you got to play, and
Everybody puts their shoulder pads on the same way.
Yeah, I think our kids are excited about playing. They've had a good week of preparation. We'll go out there, and hopefully the number one thing, if we leave it all on the field, that's what you got to do. You got a chance if you leave it off the field.
Absolutely,
Field.
absolutely. Well, Green Wave Nation, get out here Friday night. If you can, get out here at 6:45 and cheer on these awesome seniors. And it takes all of them: the football players, the cheerleaders, the band. This is the beauty of this sport, is all three come together. Cheer them on and cheer these seniors on to a big win. And heck, it'll be the first game at home that hot chocolate up at the concession stand will probably be pretty nice too. So we'll see you then. Thanks.